Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here on a sunny day in Townsville, but Townsville's full of sunshine and happiness, we hope. And it's great to be able to make a donation today to the Brolga women's team, Indigenous football team, to play in the national titles and to represent all of Townsville and all of North Queensland, and to help them in their dream to become all they can be, and to show to Australia that Townsville can compete at the highest levels and be successful. We're particularly happy to be able to support this team because it's a women's team. We all know that men think different than women. They also play sport different than women, and they need to be more encouraged. This is a great opportunity for us to set an example for other people to get behind the women in the community, to make sure that they get our support and that they can achieve all that they can achieve. We have to love our daughters as much as we do our sons. We have to appreciate them for their differences. We have to encourage them. It's all the more important that we support this team because it's going to the Indigenous titles, and all of us have got to cherish Indigenous Australians who have helped make our country what it is and set the dream so high in the dream time of what we might become. This is indeed a good opportunity for me, and I'd just like to congratulate the team, to give them all the best for the future, to hope that for them to know that they carry the dreams and hopes of everybody in the community in North Queensland in achieving a lot in the future. So Darren, we've got a check there. We can show our tangible support. All the best. Thanks very much.
Okay,
you want to say a few words?
Yeah, well, from the Indigenous Programs PCY department, but we're all about maximising our Indigenous women's football here in Townsville, and it's just through the generosity of Q&I and Clive that we're able to get these girls to realise a dream that's been a lifelong dream of theirs. I know they're only young women, that they've got a long way to go on the sport, but this team here is ready for this challenge, and the upshot of all this is that they will be up for selection for the Australian Indigenous side to travel overseas. Thank you.
Sorry mate, what was your name?
Sean Brennan.
Yep. How will we spell your name?
S-E-A-N, Brennan, B-R-E-N-N-A-N. I'm a Indigenous Sport and Rec officer here for Townsville and Castle.
All right, guys. Is there any questions anyone's got? I occasionally get questions at press conferences.
With this Q&I, you've sent out letters to residents saying that you're hoping for a positive development in the port in the next 30 days. Can you elaborate?
Well, we've met with the port and they've been very happy in our progress, and our negotiations have been good. They've indicated that they're prepared to grant our leases back at the port, which will be a great milestone for Townsville. It'll mean that we can employ 100 people straight away and get the refinery moving as soon as we can to reopen. So that's a great breakthrough. We're yet to see the actual documents and to sign them, and as soon as we get them, we'll give them urgent attention, because it is urgent that we get the refinery going. And remember that there was $1.2 billion in the economy in Townsville when we were operating, and it's important that we get that refinery and that money circulating in the community. And we want Townsville to be all it can be. It's a great place. It's something we've got to appreciate and work hard to do.
Is that progress the reason why you've taken steps to withdraw your claims against the state government regarding the nickel?
Well, I think all of us as a community have got to work hard together for Townsville, and for our side we were very critical of the port, I think everybody knows, because we thought they were standing in the way of employment for so many people in Townsville, and it was a real need for jobs. But they've now made a positive move. They've instructed their lawyers to prepare the leases, so as a sign of good faith, we don't want to have a conflict for the sake of having a conflict, and we want to support all the organs of government to do the best they can for our society. So we've done that as a sign of good faith.
This is because we need to move that process along, because the election timeline's been thrown into disarray, and we need to have some good PR from Townsville in case an election gets called earlier, or than April.
I'm just not following it.
Well, obviously we want this process to move forward quickly, because I know before we knew the election was going to be called in April, but now that the timeline's been thrown in disarray because of all the leadership battles.
You mean the federal election?
Yes.
This has got nothing to do with politics, to be honest with you. It's everything to do with trying to get people employed as soon as we can. You've only got to walk down Flinders and Palmer Street and realise how many empty shops we've got. You've only got to talk to a lot of people in towns, which I've been doing, to see that a lot of people are doing it tough. Not just employment, but businesses. There's not enough money in the economy. So I think it's urgent. We've got a lot of money that we want to invest in Townsville, that we want to deploy here. And the sooner we can do it, the better it'll be for the community. That's the first thing. On the election, I don't think there'll be an election in Australia until next November. That's when the House of Representatives has to go to election, not June. The House of Reps has a separate date. The half-Senate elections are due in June. It's been a convention in Australia since 1966 that most governments have decided to hold the election at the same time, but they don't have to do it. And we've seen the the Prime Minister say that there will be a mini budget in December, and you can well imagine that mini budget would take them through to December, the government through to December 2019, and it indicates there probably will be an election next November. It also makes sense for a new government to try to get some runs on the board and to show what they can do for the country.
I spoke to Pauline Hanson yesterday. She was quite adamant that you wouldn't be able to get Queensland Nickel up and running again. Are you disappointed that she would hold that view?
Please explain. Pauline Hanson has got zero experience in industry and business, other than receiving a lot of funds from the Australian taxpayer, which are yet accounted for, which are in overseas bank accounts for her and not being spent by her party. You know, I was just talking to Senator Burston, who's coming here to Townsville today. There he is over the back. Brian, he's our Senate team leader. And of course, we're both talking about what Senator Hanson had in common with great leaders of the world, such as Idi Amin of Uganda. He proclaimed himself president for life, and Senator Hanson has also done the same thing. She's proclaimed herself as president life for the One Nation Party. And you can understand why people from One Nation are coming to join our party in droves, and not just our party, other political parties too, because to be president of life is wholly un-Australian. It goes against democracy, what the Anzacs fought for. We fought 2 world wars about it. It's against the Australian way of life. If we're going to be one nation, it shouldn't be one Germany, it should be one Australia.
Are you paying those candidates to run?
Sorry?
Are you paying those candidates?
Absolutely not.
Clive, you've admitted yourself that you were highly critical of the port. You launched that legal action against the state government before you'd even spoken to the port. Given that as soon as you did speak to them, it seems you've had very productive meetings, do you think it could have been all over a lot sooner?
Well, that's not true. We had gone to them earlier and they wouldn't talk to us, and they told us that we couldn't have a lease and we couldn't export our product. So the reason we hadn't met with them before was because they refused to meet. And we'd gone to the Minister and he'd refused to meet, and we'd gone to the Premier and she'd refused to meet. So there was no alternative but to let the people of Townsville know that there are jobs available for them and that they should be heard. Now, when the port and the government has heard their message from the people of this city, 79% of them indicated that they were in favour of the refinery reopening, they've changed their mind. I'm not going to criticise them for changing their mind. Some politicians do, but I'm not. I'm here because as a member of the community, I want to see the refinery reopen as soon as we can. I want to work cooperatively with the port, and I want to employ as many people as I can.
With the lease, is there any conditions that you have to fulfil before the port's willing to sign?
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the reality of it, when the port was operating, we accounted for over half their revenue, $12.5 million. If you go down the port today, you'll see it's empty. There are no ships there. There are another 6 berths being constructed with taxpayers' money, and things are not happening. The capital value of the port, the refinery accounts for 50% of it. So commercially, economically, it's in everyone's interest, including the Port of Townsville, that they get that revenue flowing in the community. So it should be just a commercial transaction. Unfortunately, because I've got a political profile, people have talked about politics and me. It's got nothing to do with politics. It's everything to do about the people of this community having a better standard of living.
Clive, you filed your intention to sue Herbert MP Cathy O'Toole for defamation, but we've not seen any details of exactly what you're alleging. When are we going to hear more on this?
Well, I can't talk about that, but that won't be long. In the next couple of weeks, I think there'll be something filed. And of course, Cathy O'Toole's got the opportunity of apologising for what she said, which is not true. You see, my name's been bucketed around Townsville for a couple of years without me responding because I didn't want to cause a controversy. And at some stage, when the damage is being done to me, not just to me, but to our businesses in Townsville and our workers, we've still got 60 people fully employed out there at the present time now. I, as their chief executive, must defend them. And I can't take a person that's in a responsible position acting irresponsibly. That happened to Jenny Hill. She didn't take long to come and apologise for what she said was true and not correct. And the same thing will happen either through the courts or voluntary with Cathy O'Toole, because it's just lies and the community want the truth. I'm sick of politicians talking bullshit.
Are you saying that you would accept an apology from Cathy O'Toole and end any legal against her?
Well, I think that's a step in the right direction, but she hasn't even done that. She's just reiterated again and again things which are not true about me. And it's not about me. I'm 65 years old. I don't have much of a career left. I'm only here to promote jobs in the community and to give people a fair go. And that's all I want to do. And we've got, as I said, we've got access to billions of dollars which should be invested in Townsville. Gee, when you fly over this place in a helicopter, as I did the other day, you realise how incompetent the Townsville City Council's been. When you look at their plans, you see how wonderful it is in Magnetic Island. What sort of development should be coming here from Asia? Our tourist industry should be booming. But what do you see? Tiger Airlines cancelling it because there's no confidence. There's no leadership. I'm not talking about political leadership. I'm talking about industrial leadership. People should want to come here because it's one of the greatest places on earth, and that's why I'm here. I could be in Switzerland. I could be anywhere, but I want to be in Townsville.
And Mr. Palmer, if and when the leases are signed, what are your next steps?
Well, as soon as we get the leases signed, and I would say within 14 days, because you've got to get them signed, you've got to ascertain that we'll immediately have a Jobs Fest in Townsville. And what do we have at the Jobs Fest? We'll have a celebration. We'll have bands, face painting, jumping castles, and 100 people signing up to full-time employment. And then we'll be projecting ahead of our time frame to get the refinery running and get this community into prosperity again. That's what we'll do.
There's another building opening in Townsville today, isn't there, Clive, on Denham Street?
What's that? Our building, yeah. Well, that's a political thing. The United Australia Party, of course, is establishing their office today, and Senator Burston's here from Canberra, our Senate team leader. He'll be there at the opening and giving a historic speech about our party, about the critical role we play in Australian politics at this time, and how it's so important that we get all support for North Queensland. You know, the Labor Party and the Liberal Party don't have a senator for North Queensland anymore, that we don't rate on the map. You know, we've got to make them suffer in Canberra to realise that we need to be properly represented. And Senator Burston's come up here from New South Wales to let you know, the people of Townsville, that he cares about this community, that our party's committed to North Queensland, and we want to see it grow and prosper, and we're going to do all we can to achieve it.
Why are the two major parties bleeding votes in the region?
Because they're not giving any performance. They're negligent. They're not putting money in here. We see a stadium by one political party built in Townsville by Labor outside of Townsville. And they don't worry about jobs being created here because people have to have a revenue and an income. Well, they can't afford to go to the bloody stadium. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? And we see another group that just hasn't been interested. So we've got to put this as our highest priority. We see another political party whose leader says, please explain, please explain. She doesn't know what to do. She just says, please explain everywhere. And then you ask me what I think about her. I don't think too much about her. And we see another poor guy wandering around aimlessly, not knowing where to go. Well, look, I've been at the top level of business in Australia, internationally. I've been the World Secretary of the World Leadership Alliance with Bill Clinton as my chairman. I know about international finance. I know about business. I've got over $3.5 billion of assets. I haven't got to be here. I'm here because the country needs me. Because to whom much is given, much is required. And we've got to make this community great again. We've got to make Australia great again. And that's what we're going to do.
When can we expect...
Oh, sorry, I better quiet down for you.
I was going to say, Clive, just briefly back to the port. You're pretty adamant that there's nothing going on there. The port has said in the last 12 months that they had their busiest year for container movement. Is that a bit of fake news?
No, it's not, because they didn't ship containers previously. So it's not too hard to have a busy year, the busiest year ever for containers when you never shipped them before. I think the only containers they really shipped were our containers. But we've got a bulk port. We imported ore. The berth 2 is the only bulk berth in North Queensland, and there's been no movement over that for 2 years. So that's an asset of the Queensland government, which has been idle, primarily because they hate Clive Palmer.
Clive, when can we expect the pre-selection of candidates, both for the Senate and in the electorates around here for the UAP? Well,
the UAP is pretty busy at the moment. We've endorsed Senator Burston as our candidate in New South Wales just last week. We've got a whole influx of people from Cairns, from Mount Isa, Ayr, Mackay, a whole range of people, and we want to give everybody a fair go. So we'll be looking for another 60 days, probably keeping our membership opening and dealing with the community, and we'll go on the endorsement. Now, I've put my name in for Herbert. The party may endorse me, they may not. But I'm here and willing to serve the community if I can, and I'll do all the best. I'm here in Townsville. I was making some videos on my veranda this morning looking out over Magnetic Island. What a wonderful place to be. There were people running along the Strand, and it just reinforced the fact that we should be one of the leading areas in Australia. Our economic life should be a lot better than it is. But, you know, look at the hopeless lot we've got in Canberra. They're completely deaf to our ear, to our needs and what we need as a community. I want to get down there and I think I can shake them up for this community and make Townsville great again. Any more questions? That's it? I can go now and have a coffee?
Yeah.
God bless you. See you.